Elon Musk just laced into a reporter. Come on, you gotta check this out right now.
Free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. And if at the point at which you lose free speech, it doesn't come back.
I think the issue some people have is that a lot of people were brought back. I mean, some people were brought back who were previously banned for spreading things like QAnon conspiracies. You have people like Andrew Tate who were brought back, who were previously banned for things like hate speech. Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Well, you know, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC?
You're literally asking me?
Yes.
Well, no, you are the arbiter on Twitter, because you own Twitter.
Yes, I'm saying who is to say that one person's misinformation is another person's information? At the point at which you say that there is this is misinformation, like who is going to decide that?
Misinformation
That's the
can be
thing.
dangerous.
That's the thing about this whole situation. So much gray area. That's why you can't just have a body overseeing everyone saying that's true, that's false, because something that's true today could be false a week from now.
That it can potentially cause.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that the BBC itself has at times published things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Correct.
In its, whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes. Even if you aspire to be accurate, there are times when you will not be.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that
what hate
that
speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
Is that
what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, Elon is right on the money with this. He's basically saying anything that doesn't fit this guy's narrative and anything this guy slightly disagrees with, hateful, no, banish, get rid of now. And Elon is just saying, like, shouldn't this be an open forum for everyone to speak and talk, get all their thoughts out into the open? That way there's no bearing ill will and harboring all this evil and resentment inside of us. We're just communicating. That's how life should be. No one should be in an echo chamber. So I love how Elon's just bringing it to this guy right now.
My feed, whether it's got less or more, I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
you
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
and
said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second. You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not, I mean, right, and you can look at something like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a
Right.
single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
This guy does not
I don't
have a
think it's-
single thought for himself. Oh, this paper said that hateful content is on the rise. Therefore, it is true. Have you noticed increase in your own For You page? I have. Can you give us one example? Bots. Does this guy have a mind of his own? Can you not think? I mean, surely if hate speech is on the rise, you could give one example. Surely. That shouldn't be a problem.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
That's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how
say,
would you
for a
know there's
few
hateful
weeks.
content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
Wow.
COVID misinformation. You
Amazing.
You changed the COVID misinformation.
Has
rules.
BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
Oh my gosh.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, it then disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations? And not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, you thought it wasn't?
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. If you want to talk about the
interviewing you
BBC,
too.
all right. Let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that?
I just love how this dude wasted zero time in saying hate speech is on the rise. It's a big problem. We need to address it. Elon Musk evil. He was so quick to say all this stuff, yet he couldn't have a single example. This is just an example of one person doing zero homework, going into an interview, and he's just saying talking points, trying to get him to stick, and hopefully he just gets mad. Whereas Elon Musk, if you notice, he took his time, he was sitting back, and he was very calculated. In back, he was like, well, no, you're wrong for this reason. Can you also cite any evidence of your claim? No, you cannot. Boom. Then the reporter's like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. He changes the subject. Elon Musk sits there. Okay. He dismantles him in that one too. The guy's like, all right, let's change it one more time. And then Elon Musk is just like, okay, you did no homework. Why are you interviewing me when the BBC is losing all credibility, especially when they bring out reporters like this to interview Elon Musk, the richest man alive? Shouldn't you be more on the ball, sharp, if you know you're going to be interviewing the richest man on the planet? It seems to me every single day more and more platforms are becoming corrupted, whereas Twitter is just a bastion for free speech, and I'm loving it. Keep doing what you're doing, Elon. I'm freaking loving it. Till next time, everybody, take it easy.